Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu sekalian. Saya Robin Fong dari Singapura. Cakap bahasa kurang baik, so I will speak in English. Right. Thank you very much for coming for today's session. So I think, thank you Pak Tan. I think he already shared everything I need to share. He talked about ELT, data warehouse offload, semua. So I got nothing to share. But anyway. Thank you. So, today, all of you are from the financial services, whether banking, insurance, finance. So, one of the key things that we are really looking at is this concept of digital transformation, right? Everyone is talking about digital transformation. So, what does it really mean for your organization, right? So, I've been in covering Jakarta, Indonesia for about 10 years, right? So, initially, when I first come 2007, it's more about how to be more productive, right? How to do better back-end processing, how to do better CRM. Then, after that, the trend is to go towards business intelligence. Everyone start to talk about BI, right? And the last 4 years, people about 3 years, people start to talk about big data, Hadoop, and all that. And even in some of the banks, some of the insurance companies are starting to look at big data. Some are coming out with RFI, RFP. So we are seeing the trend, right? So big data is part of digital transformation, not the whole thing, but part of it. So I just want to, do more sharing. I will give some time for Q&A. In fact, I will use the slide only a little bit. I have a board here. I want to do some whiteboarding. So I think all of you know about this, right? Explosion of data, blah, 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 You need a new data platform. Okay, so this is the once upon a time, not once upon a time, but currently, most of your systems using relational database, right? Your core banking, your CRM systems, these are all very structured data, right? So you have your database, you have your data marts and your data warehouse, which you use to do reporting, all right? So this is what, the financial services has been doing for the last 20 years. But data is changing, or not changing, data is growing, right? We are looking at the digital world, right? Everyone has a cell phone. Everyone is talking about, better customer experience, using the mobile, using Internet of Things, etc., etc. So now the type of information, the data is more and more diverse. It's much, much more than a relational database. So I think, as a bank, as an insurance company, as a finance company, you see that, right? So the question is always, okay, now I have so many data. How can I improve? Right, use this data to make better decisions. How to do analytics, how to do customer 360, how to do fraud, and so on, right? These are all the use case, right? Every vendor will tell you the same thing, right? But this is, this is the trend, right? So when we talk about digital transformation, it's about enabling all these capabilities. So from the relational database, from, a structured database, today, what you need is more than that, right? Some of the banks are looking at how can I use NoSQL to build better application, to write faster application. But yet at the same time, able to do batch analytics, and at the same time be able to do storage at a bigger scale. At the same time, be able to do real-time processing, right? Using streaming technologies, messaging technologies, right? So it's not just, a relational database. I take the data out, put in a data mart or a data warehouse, run some operational reports. Those are okay, but those are not enough. You are seeing the need to do more and more of this. And this is where, big data comes in, right? This is where, when people talk about big data, it's not just about structured and unstructured, right? Every vendor, you can put structured, you can put unstructured, then you can do analytics. It's more than that, right? It's about how do you build better applications. It's about how do you improve your infrastructure so that you can enable digital, and how you can do real-time processing. So it's all about that. So now let me talk a little bit about MapR. How many here have heard about MapR? No? How many here heard about big data? Big data, okay, I'm sure you or at least you are interested. That's why you come here, right? How many here have heard about Hadoop? Hadoop, or never heard about Hadoop? Okay. So what I want to do is this. Instead of just showing this, I want to use the board, right? I will spend about 10 minutes, to explain to you the whole history of big data and how MapR is different. Okay. Now, you heard about this thing called Hadoop, right? Hadoop is the big data. Well, I don't really like the word Hadoop, but Hadoop is now, everyone is talking about that. But what is the origination of Hadoop? Now, let me go back to history, right? In 1997, all right? How many of you were born before 97? All of us are born, right? So, but in 1997, there was this company that was trying to be the leader in the search engine, right? But it's a small company, very small company. Okay, the name of the company starts with G, okay? And they were taking on a big company, right? At that time, the big company is this company called Y. How many of you know what is this company? Google, right? And this is Yahoo. So 20 years ago, Google is a small company. Yahoo is a big company. 20 years later, it's the other way around, okay? But when Google started, right, they want to be the leader of search on the internet, okay? But to do that, they need to do one thing. They need to be able to store web pages. Remember, they need to store the web page, right? Because before you can build in the intelligence, you need to store. So they ask themselves, okay, what can I store with, all right? So they look at 1997, what are the technology? Oh, they can look at Oracle, right? Store the web page into Oracle. But there's one small problem. What is the problem? They have no money. Small company, startup. So number one, they have no money. Number two, even if they have money, it's not easy to store web page on Oracle because Oracle is a structured database. Oracle is a very good database, no question about it. Very good for relational. But the web page is not relational, right? So the technology doesn't really fit, right? The relational database doesn't fit. So the question they ask themselves, so what can they do? But they have no money, but they are very smart, right? So they say, let us design our own file system. So they designed this system called GFS. What does GFS stand for? Google File System, right? It's just a file system whereby they treat every web page as a file, right? And they just store it on this file system. And below this file system, they use hardware, right? They use, cheap hardware and scale it, right? Because Google has no money, but they, at that time, so they use just commodity hardware to scale it. So on this foundation, they actually store all the web pages, right? So once they are able to store the web page, they are able to build algorithm. And you fast forward to 20 years later, today, Google is number one. No one use, how many of you use Yahoo search? How many use Bing? How many use Google search? Semua, every one of us, right? Until maybe Pak Viko come out with another search engine, but before that, everyone used Google. Okay, but so Google come out with a very, very good file system. Now, so what they did is that they decided to, write a paper, right, to explain the architecture of the file system. Now, this is proprietary, right? Google does not share the details, but they give people the concept. So they publish a white paper. And what happened was that someone saw that paper, right? And guess what? Yahoo actually picked up that paper, the white paper, not white paper, academic paper, which Google published on GFS. And they say, wow, this is a very, very good technology, right? Because basically it's about having a file system and using parallel technology, parallel hardware to scale, right? So that was the intention of Google. So when Yahoo, this guy from Yahoo saw that paper, he said, this is very good. So he decided to, take it to the next level. He said, why should it be only Google have the best things, right? This thing should benefit the community. So he decided to, take this concept and create another file system and open source it. And guess what is this file system called? You cannot use Google because Google is proprietary, right? So he create this using the same concept. Not the details. The details they don't know, but using the concept. He create this thing called HDFS. What does HDFS stands for? High definition file system? No. Later you win a high definition LG, Samsung TV, right? No, but HDFS is not high definition, it's Hadoop file system. But why Hadoop? What does Hadoop means? Hadoop means nothing, okay? Really, because when the guy that created this project, he wanted to create a file system. He cannot call it Google file system, obviously. So he said, what should I call? So he saw his son playing with an elephant toy. It's an elephant. So he asked the son, son, what is the name of the elephant? So what did the son say? What is the name? Hadoop. So that was why Hadoop. No, it's true, right? It's true. So it's no mean. It's just like Google. Google has no meaning. What does Google mean, right? I mean, so, but anyway, he created the Google file system, all right? And he open sourced it, right? Putting it into the Apache Foundation, open source Apache, right? You know, so today, all the open source projects are in Apache. Okay, so this is just a very, very quick background. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do right now is to explain a little bit about the progress, right, of Hadoop. So remember, about 97 was Google file system, right? So after that, a few years later, they published the paper, and then this guy, his name is called Doug Cutting, by the way. He took this paper, he decided to put it into the open source foundation. So he put this into the Apache Foundation, and it's called Apache Hadoop. So this was around 2006, around there, more than 10 years ago, all right? Now, so at that time, Hadoop was actually just very simple, right? In Hadoop, you have a file system called HDFS. And then you have put it in a file, but you need to process the data. They call it the MapReduce, right? MapReduce. And then they added a lot of things, you know, Hive, Scoop, you know, Zookeeper, etc., right? No need to go into the detail. If you don't know, never mind. But it's just an open source project. So what do people do with Hadoop 10 years ago, 11 years ago? It is more for research, R&D, right? People like to learn about data. They just do R&D, try and experiment. But they're not using this for enterprise production, not yet, okay? What is the challenge with Hadoop, right, with open source Hadoop? Can anyone tell me what is the problem? No support, correct? Because this is open source. 10 years ago, if I ask you, were you as a bank, as an insurance company, use Hadoop and run in your production system for data lake? Answer is no. Why? Because 10 years ago, who is going to support this technology? There is support online, community, but no, there's no enterprise support. So this is one big issue, right? Now, so that was 2006. Now, but with every problem comes opportunity, right? So in about 2008, there was this very interesting company that saw this opportunity in Hadoop to make money, right? Because they say, Hadoop is okay, it's good, people is trying out, but no one dares to put it in production. So they say, why don't I just take Hadoop, Apache Hadoop, and I add a support. I provide support, enterprise support. And not only do I provide support, I create a very nice user interface. And I package this whole thing, and then I sell this as a software subscription. So there's a company that does this, taking Hadoop, add support, add a nice user interface, sell it as a subscription. And they saw this as a business opportunity. And guess what is the name of this company? Anyone knows? There's any small gift I can give away? Which company is that? Sorry? Not Facebook. Sorry? Huh? Amazon, no. Amazon is more of cloud computing, no. I tell you what's the name of the company. It starts with cloud. Cloud Era. Cloudera. This is the company. Okay? They are my competitor, but I will give them credit because they start this whole process. They take open source Hadoop, they add support, they add a nice user face, and they sell. Okay? That's what they do. Okay? So that's Cloudera. Now, 2011, there is another company that says, you know what? I also want to follow this concept, Apache Hadoop, but I only add support. I'm not going to add anything else because they believe everything must be pure open source. What is the name of this company? Start with H. Hortonworks, very good. Hortonworks. Hortonworks. She no price. Okay, so this is the company. Okay? But if you look at Cloudera and Hortonworks, they are same. They use the same code base, which is open source Hadoop. Okay? Now, then, okay. Sorry, I don't have, okay, I use the same page. That 2009, there's a company that was formed. And they asked themselves, we want to do big data. We want to solve the problem of big data for the enterprise. But do we want to take open source Hadoop and add support and add something else? The answer is maybe not. Because anyway, there are two companies that do this already. No need to be the third player. But what is more important is this. This company want to address the issue of enterprise. Like yourself, a bank, an insurance company is an enterprise. But these are open source. Okay? Now, and what is the name of this company that started in 2009? Guess what is the name of this company? MapR. Saya working for MapR. Okay? So, MapR. So, when MapR started in 2009, okay, 2009, we asked ourselves, what is important to the enterprise, to a bank, to an insurance company? So first thing, we asked the customer, number one, high performance, very important. Is high performance important to you as a bank? Yes. Highly available. The data must be highly available. Is that important? It is. Because you must understand, when you do big data, you are not running on an appliance. You're running on many, many hardware, right? Scale-out hardware. And even the best hardware, sometimes the hard disk will fail, right? So it's not whether the hard disk will fail. The hard disk will fail, right? The issue is when it fails, how highly available your data is. That's very important. Number three, we need a true file system. Okay, what is a true file system? I'll explain to you, right? When you really want to store data, you need to make sure that it's a full read-write file system. Okay, now, so these are the requirements of any enterprise. Okay, and number four, of course, multi-tenancy. Multi-tenancy means I have a big data platform, but I need to be able to do many, many different use cases on the same platform. So I can run operational reporting, I can run analytics, I can run IoT, I can run storage, I can run application development, all on the same platform, but partitioned through multi-tenancy. Now, so let me ask you a question. Are these the feature that the bank, insurance company look for? Okay, if yes, please pay attention. Right? If no, continue to use open source Hadoop. And I finish my presentation. Okay, but this is important. Okay? So, when we look at this, we realize, you know, Hadoop, right? When we look at Apache Hadoop, there is a small problem. It does not address the requirements, right, out of the box. Why is it like that? Okay. Because you must understand, Apache Hadoop, the use case was from Google file system. What was the use case for Google? It was just to store web page. That's it. That's the only use case. Store web page. But in the enterprise, in the bank, it's more than storing the web page. It's storing all types of data, structured, unstructured. It's about doing real time. It's about improving your infrastructure. So the original use case for Hadoop does not really address that head on. So when we look at that, right, when MapR was formed, we look at that, we say, look, we don't want to use Hadoop, right? We don't want to use open source Hadoop and add things because Hadoop itself has a weakness. So we decided to rewrite the whole file system, okay? So this is where I want to explain the difference between MapR and Hadoop, right? Because when we talk about Hadoop, we are referring to Cloudera and Hortonworks. They use the same code. But MapR is different, right? So this is MapR. Okay, this is Hadoop. Okay, now what are the 4 things that we talk about? We talk about high performance. We talk about high availability. We talk about true file system. True file system. We talk about multi-tenancy. These are important requirements for the bank, for the insurance company. So we look at first thing, the problem with Hadoop. What is Hadoop developed on? What technology it is based on? It's based on Java. Okay, you know it's based on Java. Now Java is okay, right, as a programming language, no problem. But the challenge with Java is this. As a data processing platform, if you look at a piece of hardware, like the best hardware over here, you must have what we call a JVM, Java Virtual Machine. And then you need to have a Linux operating system. Then only HDFS, Hadoop file system, will sit on top of that. You realize that there are many layers, overhead, performance, right? So when MapR said, look, you know, this is not a good technology. So we decided to rewrite, we call it our own MapR file system. We rewrite in C and C++. Right? For those who know programming, C is a machine language. So straight away, MapR will talk direct to the machine, very fast. So we address the issue of high performance, very, very important. Okay? Now, how many of you here are from technical? How many of you are business? Okay, but you bear with me. I'm a little bit technical, but don't worry, later I'll go back to the business, right? But it's important for you to understand this. Because once you understand this, right, then when you apply, it's all the same. So first thing is we rewrite in C. Second thing, high available. Now, in Hadoop, we use the concept of distribution, right? Every data is written 3 times, right? 3x to have the resilience. So you have this thing called, what we call, let's say you have 5 servers, 5 data nodes. You have a file, right? Customer records, you copy the data 3 times. Very good, because if one server goes down, you still have 2 copies. And the 2 copies, if it goes down, you'll re-replicate. So no problem with that. But there's only one problem. To do on Hadoop, you need what we call a name node. You need a name node. What does the name node do? What does the name node do? The name node direct traffic, basically to tell you where is the data being stored. So what is the challenge with a name node architecture? The challenge is this. While my data is replicated 3 times, if my name node goes down, habis, finish. It is a single point of failure. Single point of failure, right? There is no high availability. So, but there is a way to work around, no problem. So, you know, the Hadoop distributor will tell you, oh, why don't you add another name node for standby? Okay? But if you put a standby name node, you see, the problem is this. Even if it doesn't go down, there is a lot of latency. Because every time you write a file, it has to go through the name node to go to the data node. So even if you put a standby name node, it doesn't, it doesn't eliminate the latency problem. But the other thing is this. At every one time, there's only one name node that can be on active. So if this goes down, it will fail over to this. And you better make sure that this doesn't go down. Because if this goes down, finish. Right? So, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to put in a lot of hardware to solve this problem. Okay? So the high availability problem. But with MapR, because we re-engineer this thing, on the same data node, 5, the data is copied 3 times. We do not need a name node. There's a no name node concept. Because what we do is that even the directory, we store it together with the data nodes. So we don't have a name node. We do not need a name node. So if this goes down, no problem. I still have 2 copies and it will just re-replicate. So it is highly available out of the box. There is no need to put a name node, standby name node, standby or standby. You don't need to do that. So the performance is much faster because the data is together. It is highly available out of the box. This is very, very important because as your data grow, as your number of nodes grow, the chances of a hard disk failure is high. So you need the ability to be very resilient and self-healing. So this is MapR, second point. So far, okay? Am I going too technical? Okay? Okay. The third point, I will stop at the third point. I will not talk about multi-tenancy to confuse you. The third point is very important. In Hadoop, it is a write once, read many file system. What is a write once, read many? Remember, in Hadoop, it's good for big files. Each block is 64 MB. Think of it as a CD-ROM. Remember a CD-ROM? CD-ROM is write once only. After you finish writing the CD-ROM, you cannot rewrite again. You can only read. So that is the same concept in Hadoop. It's a big 64 MB CD-ROM per block. Now, why is it like that? Why is the design like that? Again, you must go back all the way to Google. Because Google uses GFS to store web page. Web page is big. One web page can be a few megabytes. Maybe like 50 megabytes because there's a lot of pictures, text, and other things, graphics. But for Google, it's okay because they just store and close the file, no problem. If there's any changes, I just have another new block and I append, right? That's not the problem. But the problem is, as an enterprise, as a bank, this architecture will be a challenge because if you want to do real-time processing, right? You want to do, let's say, credit card fraud detection. The files, the data coming from the credit card is very small, right? Maybe about 10 kilobytes. Small but very fast. For you to write into a 64 MB CD-ROM is going to be a challenge because the time for you to finish writing a block will take time, right? And by the time you finish writing, you can't really, there's this big time gap for you to do your fraud detection. But for MapR, it's different. Because we rewrite this, we are a full read-write file system, full read-write. We are not a CD-ROM, we are a C drive, right? You can keep reading and writing parallel. And our lowest block is only 8 kilobytes. Very, very important. If you look at Hadoop, Hadoop is good for big files, but very bad for small files. But most of the files that you have in your bank, they are small files or medium files. Small but many, but still small. So with MapR, the moment you write, you can process immediately. Okay? So these are the key differences of MapR versus Hadoop. So we use a very, very different philosophy to do big data compared to Hadoop, compared to our competitors. Okay, I will not go into too much because I don't have enough time. So now let me go back to the... So far, is this clear? I mean, I tried to use the board to build the concept from the basic. Now you read this, you understand. Okay? Okay, so this is it. If you look at Cloudera and Hortonworks, they are the same, right? Because they use the same Hadoop code base. But MapR is different because we rewrite. So some of the key things which I mentioned, we are full random read-write. They are only an append-only file system, which is a CD-ROM, right? We tolerate multiple failures, right? You can keep failing, it's okay. We will not die. You kill us, we will get stronger because we don't have a name node, right? Whereas for Cloudera Hortonworks, only single failure is tolerated. Because once, let's say your name node and a standby name node, if the name node down, one failure is okay. But before your name node goes up, the other name node goes down, finish, right? So the way to work around is to have many, many name nodes, standby over standby over standby. This is a very bad architecture, right? And because we are a full random read-write, when you do snapshot, we are always consistent all the time because it's a full read-write. Whereas in Hadoop, it's only consistent when the file is closed. But when the file is being written, they cannot guarantee consistency, right? And we are scalable. We can scale with no limit because we are not dependent on the name node, right? In Hadoop, there is always a file limitation because you are dependent on the name node. So in terms of scalability, there's always a challenge with Hadoop. Okay? Now, so MapR, we are a converged data platform, right? So, okay, so basically, we rewrite the whole thing. We have our own file system, we have our own database, which is a NoSQL database, and we have our own streaming, right? Which is using Kafka concept, but everything rewritten so that you can run on a single cluster with less hardware, higher hardware utilization, so on and so forth, common HA and DR model, right? And everything on a single platform, right? So whether it's a file system, it's a table, or it's a stream, it shares the same file, it shares the same platform, okay? Now, then another question that you will ask, oh, but are you proprietary, right? You know, the world is going open source, right? Hadoop is open source, but you are not open source, right? Now, the way I answer this question is very, very simple, right? Forget open source for a while, okay? What is important is, does it address the needs of your enterprise, right? Because the open source thing is just very theory, oh, I must be open source, oh, I cannot be open source. This is just textbook. But the real thing is, what does it work for your organization? That's number one. But number two is, okay, fine, open source is growing. And the nice thing is MapR support open source. So we support all the things like Spark, you know, Kafka, HBase, everything we support, right? Even though we rewrite this onto our platform, we have the open API to go back to open source. So if one day you use MapRFS and you say, oh, you know what, 2 years later I want to go back to Hadoop, can I do that? No problem. There's an open API, you can just port the data into Hadoop, no problem, right? Or if I do my MapRDB, can I port my data to HBase? No problem. I have the open APIs, right? So that is the truth. So while we are proprietary, we do not lock you in. You can always go back to open source. Tapi from our experience, MapR started in 2009. So now we are about 8 years. We have seen only customer from Hadoop move to MapR. But we have not seen customer who use MapR move to Hadoop. Because if you experience all these features, why would you want to go back to the Hadoop where there is so much challenge? But theoretically you can, because we have open API. But in reality, whether you want is up to you. You can if you want. But chances are, you know, if you drive the BMW, right? Do you want to go and take the tuk-tuk? No, right? This is the example. Okay, so these are some of the use case, right? I will not go in but you can use MapR for many things. You can use it, number one, for storage. I will talk a bit about storage in a while. You can do data warehouse offload, and you can even do the advanced use cases, machine learning, recommendation engine, blah, blah, blah. All this you can read. All the vendors tell you the same thing, so I'm not going to repeat. But what is important is this. Let me share you some customer examples. Now, how many of you heard about American Express? Of course you do. You are from financial services. American Express is one of MapR's largest customer in the world. They run about more than 2,000 servers, right? And what do American Express use for? They use it for credit card risk fraud as well as real-time offer. This is the detailed architecture. So every time you do an online transaction on American Express, or every time someone swipes a card on American Express, the data is streamed into MapR real-time, right? Goes into MapR real-time, and on top of that, there is a fraud detection engine. This is, okay, everything on that is not red is not MapR. MapR is only the red part, okay? I just want to be transparent. But the fraud detection engine actually reads directly from MapR. So they will be able to say, every transaction you do, is it real or is it fraud? If it's fraud, it will stop the transaction, right? And in real time, okay? Now, on the same thing, since I have the details of the transaction, not only can I do fraud, I can use the same data to do marketing offers, real-time, personalized offer. That's why I use American Express a lot, right? Because I travel quite a lot. Every time I swipe something, I always get, SMS offer very fast, all right? Biometrics. The largest biometrics project is running on MapR, largest, right? India, national ID. Now, when we look at biometrics, how does it relate to the bank? Because today, the bank is also moving towards biometrics. Because I already see some prototype in the new ATM machine. Instead of keying the PIN, biometrics is coming. Maybe not now, going forward, or maybe just stand in front of the machine, look at using your iris. That will be the way you draw the money in future. So MapR can store biometrics, not only just store, but authenticate and process in real time. Think about this, okay, for your future. Okay, so, okay. The other one is for storage, right? And my partner, Pak Viko, will talk about using MapR as a storage for his super high-end hardware. Very good. Okay, I will not go into this, but I just give you, so you can use MapR for software-defined storage, which you cannot do in Hadoop, because Hadoop is a write once, read many file system. We are a full read-write, so you already disqualified Hadoop. Now, so I just give you this example. How many of you heard about SAP? You know SAP, right? I'm sure. Maybe you are using, maybe you're not using, but SAP is one of the largest business software provider in the world. SAP is going big into the cloud, right? Everyone is talking about SAP Cloud. When they build the cloud, they need storage. And guess what? They actually use MapR as the storage, as the software-defined storage. Why do they choose MapR? Okay, to be honest, when they were looking at it, they were looking at a few solutions. They were looking at NetApp, they were looking at EMC, they were looking at IBM, and they were looking at MapR. 4 vendors for them to choose. It took SAP 1 year to evaluate. And finally, they choose MapR, right? Why? Because it's a full software offering. Because we are just doing the software. SAP can run on any hardware of their choice. We don't tie them to any hardware. Number 2, we support multi-temperature, resilience, and very, very scalable. Right? And guess what is the data size that MapR is managing for SAP? We are talking about 100 petabytes managing the data of SAP across the cloud, across the world. Right? So this is the software-defined storage story. Okay? Now, so I think I will stop here. So just summary, right? MapR is a big data platform. You can use it for storage, you can use it for data lake, you can use it for analytics, you can use it for IoT, you can use it for operational report, you can use it to build new application, right? That's the use case. But the key is start simple, right? Maybe just a data lake, maybe just a storage, maybe just a data lake with a bit of BI, right? Start simple. You can start small with MapR, right? Don't be afraid of the term big data. You can really start small. Because today we have an offer, right? I think it's a 3-node. You can even start with a 3-node package with MapR and hardware. So that's we can start. Because remember, we don't do name nodes. That's why we can start really small. If you talk to my competitor, less than 10 nodes, they don't want to sell you. Right? But I can really start small. Okay?
Selamat siang, Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu semua. Jadi terima kasih atas kesempatannya juga buat CDT. Juga mungkin banyak yang belum kenal ya. Jadi perkenalkan, nama saya Andri Elviko. Jadi saya ini banyak sebenarnya bermain di Oracle dan infrastructure dan juga banyak juga bermain di MapR. Dan saya dari PT Prima Integrasi, dan untuk produk Oracle dan infrastructure udah cukup lama ya. Jadi saya sudah 18 tahun pegang di dunia Oracle. Jadi kalau yang tadi ngomongin tentang data ya, terus bagaimana hubungannya dengan MapR ya. Dan mungkin satu-satunya orang yang punya anak namanya Oracle di Indonesia ya. Jadi anak saya sendiri pun namanya Oracle. Jadi saking cintanya dengan Oracle. Termasuk MapR ya salah satunya. Dan semua produk pasti berhubungan ya. Oke. Ini company saya ya, Prima Integrasi Network. Ya udah cukup lama sebenarnya Prima Integrasi Network, udah dari tahun 2001. Ya dulu kita fokus di network, terus kemudian kita mulai pindah bisnisnya ke database solution. Setelah itu kita juga bermain di bisnis yang namanya flash, teknologi storage flash. Terus kemudian kita expand ke virtualization dan juga transform ke digital technology. Di digital technology kami akan kolaborasi dengan MapR ya, salah satunya ya. Karena waktunya cukup singkat, jadi saya cukup cepat ya. Ini visi misi, ya ini core bisnis kami, Oracle, IBM, ya, MapR, Fujitsu salah satunya, Microsoft dan Cisco. Oke, sesuai dengan topik pada saat ini ya, topiknya adalah tentang big data ya, MapR ya. hyper. Terus kemudian bagaimana sih sebenarnya big data relatednya dengan database, dengan storage, dengan infrastructure seperti apa ya. Ini sebenarnya idenya dari gambar ini sebenarnya. Ya, semua decision itu sebenarnya adalah tergantung pada data availability. Ya, terus kemudian speed, performance. Jadi memang waktu tahun 2012 Prima integrasi itu kita expand bisnisnya ke Oracle, yang dalam bayangan kami adalah bagaimana ya caranya bikin Oracle itu selalu available, dulu idenya begitu ya. Cepat performance-nya ya. Terus gampang diakses segala macam dan selalu ada ya. Itu dulu idenya ya. Oke. Lalu ketemulah yang namanya MapR ya. Ini begitu sejarahnya ya. Ya ini mungkin, dan kemudian ada satu hal lagi ya dari Malcolm Field. Dia bilang there is no asset more important than company data. Ya, jadi company data ini sangat penting ya. You cannot give that responsibility ya to someone who doesn't know how to handle it. Ya, jadi ini how to take care. Ya, kenapa? Karena kalau kita ngomong big data segala macam, ngomongin storage, ya ngomongin platform, itu yang pasti adalah harus ada orang yang bisa men-take care. Ya, kenapa? Ya kalau ada apa-apa nanti hilang semua datanya. Ya, oke. Lalu bagaimana sebenarnya teknologi supporting yang selalu kami kembangin di beberapa customer yang relatednya dengan MapR ya. Lalu apa hubungannya juga dengan perangkat yang ada di sebelah kanan kita ya. Karena ini saya lebih banyak ke bagian demonya ya. Kalau teknologi tadi Pak Robin udah sounding sekian banyak teknologi yang dia kasih tahu ya. Ini. Jadi kami kembangin satu teknologi yang di atas platform MapR ya dengan Fujitsu platform, yaitu namanya Prime Store namanya ya, Prime Store Artificial Intelligence System. Apa kemampuan dari sisi Prime Store yang kita kembangin di atas platform ini? Satu, yang pasti karena dia di platform MapR, dia udah pasti cluster, ya, high availability, oke. Lalu kemudian scalability, bisa di-expand, node-nya tadi unlimited, kata si Pak Robin ya. Terus kemudian bisa juga melakukan compute processing. Kenapa? Di dalamnya ada MapRDB, ada Hive, NoSQL, ya. Juga salah satu tadi ada pertanyaan, Pak, bisa nggak OLTP saya jalanin di atas platform MapR? Bisa, Pak. Ya, ada database RDBMS OLTP. Bahkan teknologi sekarang dengan Hive, Hive adalah salah satu database NoSQL yang terbaru. Itu ada namanya ACID platform. ACID memungkinkan Bapak bisa update, insert dan delete ya. That's possible, Pak. Zaman sekarang udah makin lama makin canggih, Pak. Makanya saya juga sedih, Pak. Lama-lama Oracle saya bisa hilang nih gara-gara ini. Ya. Oke. Lalu kemudian high performance. Makin banyak node-nya pasti makin high performance. Kenapa? Karena compute processing semuanya bekerja ya. Nah, ada satu hal yang paling penting sebenarnya dengan platform ini, yaitu namanya migration agility. Coba Bapak bayangin, ya Bapak dan Ibu bayangin, kalau misalnya data saya taruh di sini, ya, dengan saya bandingkan saya taruh misalnya di storage yang biasa. Ya. Kalau storage yang biasa, 3 tahun kemudian saya udah harus mikir nih, setahun lagi saya harus beli lagi storage baru, terus saya harus pindahin lagi ke storage yang lebih baru. Waduh, migrasi ini, ya kan? Mungkin bikin rundown-nya harus 1 minggu, eksekusinya 2 hari, ya, belum lagi jagainnya seminggu juga. Ya, saya butuh mungkin lebih kurang 2 minggu untuk proses migration. Tapi kalau di sini, migration agility, nggak usah, yang udah 4 tahun, nggak usah dipikirin Pak, tambahin aja lagi deh, stack terus. Stack dan stack, yang lama buang aja udah. Kalau udah nggak dipakai, ya udah digeser aja. Sistem nggak mati. Kenapa? Dia sudah cluster. Oke? Nah itu kelebihannya. Lalu kemudian apa? Runtime application, ya. Lalu pertanyaannya gini deh, Pak, waduh, di dalam ini kan fungsinya kan storage, ada juga NoSQL yang tadi buat data warehouse dan lain-lain. Tapi ada kebutuhan nih, saya mau jalanin aplikasi bisa nggak? Misalnya, saya mau jalanin API. It's possible, kenapa? Di dalam MapR platform memungkinkan bisa jalan yang namanya container. Tadi Pak Robin juga sudah cerita, Bapak juga bisa jalanin. Bahkan yang lebih ekstrimnya lagi, ya, di labnya kami, yang kami jalanin apa coba? VM, ya. Kenapa? nggak cukup space-nya. Di sini masih cukup, ya udah jalanin VM. Oke? Itu salah satunya ya. Lalu kemudian, ini hubungannya dengan storage. 3 yang ke atas hubungannya dengan storage. Dia bisa berfungsi sebagai NAS yang tadi, tapi karena ada Prime Store teknologi, dia juga bisa sebagai iSCSI, tapi sudah clustering di across platform. Nah itu kelebihannya. Lalu kemudian bisa terintegrasi dengan FC. Jadi dia juga bisa sebagai fungsi storage. Jadi kalau Bapak lihat server yang di sebelah itu ada 3 node Fujitsu di sana, itu adalah MapR. Kalau kita lihat dia connect ke server database yang gede itu dia connect-nya lewat FC, ya, lewat kabel fiber. Kalau dilihat di belakang itu lihat lewat kabel fiber ya. Nah itu memungkinkan. Nah ini adalah extended teknologi dari MapR platform ya. Lalu kemudian TCP multipathing ini adalah TCP multipathing ini biasanya nggak begitu common ya, cuma kita kembangin satu teknologi yang memungkinkan kalau misalnya di masing-masing node itu ada 4 port network yang diakses secara bersamaan, dia otomatis akan splitting di across 4 network itu. Kenapa? By default biasanya single port aja, walaupun di bounding apalah teknologi yang sekarang di bounding atau di aggregation biasanya satu aja yang aktif. Nah kita kembangin breakthrough namanya TCP multipathing. Lalu kemudian apa kelebihannya? Bapak bisa pump up any kind of data di sini. Mau dari Oracle bisa ditaruh di situ. Kalau mau Oracle-nya mau diekstrak langsung mau jadi apa misalnya? Mau jadi Hive, mau jadi text, mau jadi JSON, mau jadi apalah istilahnya. Ada tools-nya Pak, Scoop, tinggal pakai. Ya, oke. Kalau mau ada lagi, ada Kafka yang kalau mau streaming, ya itu juga bisa ya. Oke. Lalu kemudian mau apa? Mau VMware mau jalan di situ juga ada. Nanti saya demoin ya. VMware, waduh, saya VMware nih butuh nih source data saya mau jalanin ya, habis space-nya. Bisa jalan nggak di MapR platform? Bisa. Oke. High availability lagi. Ya, nggak kayak storage biasa. Terus kemudian apa yang mau real time? IoT. Bisa nggak dikirim ke situ? Bisa. Ya. Lalu kemudian pertanyaan berikutnya ini ya biasanya orang Oracle, Pak, saya datanya nih Oracle berubah-berubah, boleh nggak saya capture real time ke big data? Boleh Pak, ada tuh Golden Gate, namanya Oracle Golden Gate Big Data Adapter. Bapak bisa kirim dari Oracle real time ngirim ke big data, hasilnya mau JSON, CSV atau TSV atau apa hasilnya? Ya, that's possible. Lalu kemudian hasilnya ke depan mau ditampilin pakai apa? Kalau dia berupa data, Bapak bisa tampilin dengan tools untuk reporting, BI dan lain-lain. Tapi kalau berupa storage ya udah storage aja, nyimpan aja dia sampai di situ ya. Oke? Lalu, nah ini gambarnya yang tadi yang kita demo ya, bahwa sekarang ini kita punya arsitektur itu ada 3 server Fujitsu di sana, 1 database server, 1 sebenarnya database VM untuk Commvault ya, Commvault demo ya. Coba nanti kita lihat apakah waktunya masih keburu ya. Terus kemudian kita lihat juga kami juga punya demo lab yang lebih besar lagi. Ini kita juga bangun yang namanya arsitektur yang cukup ekstrim ya. Nanti saya tunjukin deh demonya. Kita punya namanya platform Fujitsu Prime Store All Flash. Jadi memang kami pisahin. Ada yang platform yang khusus hanya semua All Flash, integrated dengan Oracle server, Unix server ya. Jadi kalau namanya kita platform enterprise, ya mungkin banyak yang masih bermain di Unix, mungkin IBM iSeries ya, mungkin mainframe dan lain-lain ya. Terus kemudian kami juga punya Fujitsu MapR server. Nah ini yang untuk disk ya. Lalu kita juga terintegrasi dengan VMware running di atas Nutanix platform ya. Lalu pertanyaannya dari gambar ini, ya mungkin gambar ini cukup lebih kompleks ya. Lalu apa sih fungsinya flash ini dengan server database? Yang kami lakukan adalah kami simpan datanya Oracle di atas flash. Udah pasti, kenapa? Oracle harus cepat, ya kan? Datanya gede, sekian terabyte, oke? Lalu kemudian apa fungsinya MapR di sana? Hubungannya dengan database Oracle, simple lah Oracle. Apa hubungannya? Kami taruh archive log di situ. Untuk database yang kecil-kecil kita taruh di disk. Ya, run di atas platform MapR. untuk backup harian, Airman, termasuk juga Commvault kita taruh di situ. Oke, jadi nggak pusing lagi. Terus kemudian apa juga hubungannya dengan MapR dengan yang namanya Nutanix dan VM? Nutanix itu kelebihannya adalah dia bisa melakukan komputasi di dalam. Cuma kadang-kadang hardware-nya storage-nya limited. Sometimes kadang-kadang butuh extra storage. Extra storage-nya ngambil dari mana? Dari MapR platform. Oke? Nah, ini salah satu contohnya. Lalu kemudian gambar-gambarnya seperti apa? Ya, ini saya tunjukin aja gambarnya. Mungkin, nah ini salah satunya. Jadi kalau kita masuk ke MapR console, di sini berapa node itu kelihatan. Di sini ada node-nya. Ya, ini ada node-nya. Ya, jadi berapa node sih di dalam? Di sini berapa total core-nya. Jadi kalau yang MapR bedanya dengan Cloudera itu adalah di sini tidak ada name node. Semuanya jadi name node, semuanya jadi cluster sekalian ya. Ini kelihatan di sini. Jadi berapa node yang jalan, berapa total core-nya di sini kelihatan ya. Terus kemudian berapa total memorinya, berapa disk space-nya. Kelihatan ya? Oke. Terus kemudian ini salah satu contoh yang jalan di Oracle. Di Oracle itu ada fitur namanya DNFS. Ya, Direct NFS. Itu memungkinkan semua node kita bisa activate langsung ke Oracle. Dia otomatis akan up dari sisi Oracle. Jadi kita bisa jalanin Oracle, Pak. Oracle udah nggak pusing lagi mikirin storage. Waduh, saya harus beli NetApp ini dan itu. Udah di sini aja, Pak. Malah makin kencang. Kenapa? Banyak itunya, node-nya. Ya. Oke. Lalu ini performance monitoring dari sisi PrimeStore. Untuk ini adalah salah satu demonya kita. Di sini kelihatan berapa usage di dalam MapR-nya. Lalu di sini berapa untuk CPU sistemnya. Kemudian di sini juga bisa kelihatan berapa write output-nya, ya. Oke, kalau ada read juga bisa kelihatan. Oke. Terus kemudian ini network utilities-nya seperti apa? Ini juga bisa dilihat ya dari gambar ini. Terus kemudian ini juga salah satu contoh ya bahwa PrimeStore di atas platform MapR kita jadiin data source ya di VM. Jadi udah yang real aja case-nya, Pak. Jadi kalau kita ngomong yang tadi kan masih teori, ini udah real udah yang udah pasti bisa dipakai ya. Oke. Terus ini salah satu contohnya ya. Lalu apa sih contohnya PrimeStore yang running di flash di atas platform MapR ya? Ini contohnya. Jadi kalau kita kenalin di Unix ini kelihatan ya platformnya. Dan kalau kita coba di sini lihat ya kemampuan baca. Nih kalau misalnya kita coba query atau apa, kemampuannya ini bisa sampai 2 GB per second ya. Nanti saya demoin live ya. Berapa sih kemampuannya kalau kita coba tulis di atas flash itu dengan platform MapR, Fujitsu, berapa sih kecepatannya? Nanti saya tunjukin ya demonya ya. Oke. Nah, ini contoh data misalnya, kalau kita query di database Oracle lah, karena saya banyaknya di Oracle, jadi gampang nunjukin ya. 80 juta data itu bisa di query dengan 3 detik, 123 itu dalam 6 detik, ya. Kalau dari ini datanya sudah ratusan juta ya, mungkin hampir 1 miliar dalam 12 detik. Yang ini lebih kompleks lah, ini yang namanya orang kalau pegang data ya hari-hari itu pasti akan kelihatan bahwa ada query-query yang kompleks mungkin ke dalam database. Ya ini bisa dalam 2 menit, ya cukup kompleks, ini udah mulai miliaran rows. Dan ini salah satunya juga, pump up data 23 GB itu bisa diselesaikan tidak nyampe 2 menit ya. Jadi itu 23 itu lebih kurang 310 juta rows ya. Lalu kemudian dari sisi apa? Di sini sebenarnya ini read, ini write, kemampuan write-nya bisa sampai 2 GB ya, 2,8 GB per second ya. Dan CPU-nya juga nggak tinggi ya. Ini kalau di gambar Unix sih CPU-nya juga nggak begitu besar. Lalu kemudian yang lebih ekstrim lagi udahlah Pak, kalau ngomongin miliaran mas saya juga udah miliaran, gimana kalau 11 miliar Pak rows-nya? Ya, kita coba yang ekstrim-ekstrim aja ya. Nah, ini kalau 11 miliar kita bisa query dengan 8 menit. Ya. Kalau kita lihat kemampuan bacanya bisa sampai mencapai 3 GB per second. Oke. Ya, ini dan kalau kita query dengan yang lebih kompleks misalnya di Oracle itu bisa malah lebih cepat ya, 5 menit ya. Nah, ini salah satu contoh integrasi dari platform yang kita sudah kembangin di atas platform MapR. Nanti kita coba lihat kayak gimana sih sebenarnya contoh demo lab kita ya. Jadi ini demo. Kami juga minta izin ke customer kami supaya boleh nggak lab ini boleh kami ini nggak? Ya mereka sih boleh. Jadi mungkin kita mulai bagaimana hubungannya, bagaimana sih screen MapR yang ini ya. Kita mulai dulu ya, kayak gimana sih screennya kalau kita monitoring. Mungkin ini bisa ini, karena saya juga remote. Jadi ini bergerak ya. Jadi ini memang kita lagi simulasikan. Mudah-mudahan bisa ya. Oke. Masih kelihatan ya? Jadi ini contohnya, ini namanya Grafana. Grafana ini adalah untuk memonitoring utilisasi dari MapR ya, yang sudah kita kolaborasi dengan Prime Store Teknologi di dalamnya. Berapa node-nya segala macam itu bisa kelihatan di sini. Ya, Bapak dengerin suara saya sambil lihat itu aja ya. Dan di sini CPU system. Terus kemudian di sini juga bisa kita lihat berapa traffic tulis datanya, terus berapa read, kalau ada read, ya ini karena lab ya santai-santai aja, nggak ribet-ribet amat ya. Oke. Tapi pertanyaan berikutnya, boleh nggak dikasih traffic dong supaya bisa kelihatan ini benar bergerak atau tidak, kan itu yang namanya demo kan gitu kan. Nah kita coba kasih traffic aja ya. Saya kasih traffic yang sederhana ya. Saya kasih traffic yang sederhana. Jadi ini di lab ini contohnya adalah kalau kita lihat di sini. Dia ditaruh di mana sih? Nah ini dia. Kenapa? Karena salah satu kelebihan fitur dari MapR itu adalah dia punya NFS, bukan HDFS. HDFS itu nggak gampang ditulis Pak, ya. Mau di pump pun datanya harus ditulis dulu komennya depan baru LS ya. Kalau ini enggak, you can mount anywhere. Nah itu salah satu kelebihannya di MapR platform. NFS platformnya luar biasa. Nah kita coba integrasi dengan Oracle ya, simple. Kita coba misalnya di sini kita coba jalanin backup aja. Oke bentar ya, saya hapus dulu ya. Oke, wah cepat juga ngapusnya ya. Kita coba backup. Oke, kita coba tes jalanin ya. Lalu kita lihat ini belum ngapa-ngapain, sambil ngapa-ngapain dia ya. Traffic masih belum, masih santai segala macam ya. Sambil kita tunggu. Sambil kita nunggu, kita lihat dulu yang lain ya. Nanti dia pasti akan bergerak. Lalu kemudian ini salah satu contoh yang tadi ya, yang kayak gimana sih konsolnya di di MapR itu seperti apa, ini jumlahnya segala macam. Di sini bisa kelihatan, mungkin nggak begitu jelas-jelas amat ya. Di sini node-nya itu apa aja. Yang pasti simple Pak. Di sini ada gambar. Kalau warnanya hijau berarti sehat. Kalau misalnya warnanya sudah orange ya masih sedikit aman ya. Tapi kalau udah merah ya berarti bubar ya. Nah, jadi itu kalau kita lihat di sini ya. warnanya healthy ya, nggak ada masalah. Oke. Lalu kemudian kita coba lihat di sini sudah jalan apa belum. Terus kemudian saya juga ada demo sambil itu nunggu ya. Di sini ada namanya seperti apa sih demo data. Oh sorry, ini kecil banget ya, sorry maaf Pak. Saya gedein dulu ya. Oke. Ini contoh sambil nunggu yang tadi. Bagaimana sih Pak kalau dia itu Prime Store dengan MapR platform dan Fujitsu, terus kemudian kita mounting pakai FC, seberapa sih cepatnya? Boleh nggak dilihat yang langsung? Boleh ya. Oke, kita coba lihat di sini ya, bentar ya. Jadi kalau kita lihat di sini, ini slash database di sini ini adalah yang di mounting lewat FC. Taunya dari mana? Dari sini Pak. Ya. Ya memang komennya agak terlalu teknikal, tapi nggak apa-apa untuk demo ya. Nah, ini adalah LUN dari luar ya. Kalau kita lihat langsung dari OS-nya itu kelihatan. Ya. Ya ini langsung kelihatan ini LUN yang tadi ya, itu connect ke Prime Store langsung ya. Yang tadi yang box yang pure flash. Oke. Kita coba tes tulis ya. Kita tes tulis aja deh, berapa cepat ya, kita tes ya. Kita nggak usah ngomongin Oracle dulu lah. Kalau udah pasti nulisnya cepat, pasti Oracle atau apapun lah ditaruh di situ udah pasti cepat Pak. Kita coba lihat ya. Bentar. Oke. Ini database. Kita coba ke testing. Ya, mungkin ini tesnya layarnya kok hitam-hitam. Ya ini yang real Pak. Kalau real pekerjaan ya beginilah Pak. Kalau pegang data dan lain-lain, ya inilah yang realnya hitam-hitam begini ya. Kita coba tes bikin 100 giga ya. Ke file. Misalnya 100 giga. Coba file. Misalnya ini langsung ke MapR ya. Coba file lewat FC. Seberapa cepat? Tut. Ya, kita coba zpool. Ayo start. 1. Ya, kita lihat. Tuh bisa 4 giga ya nulisnya, kelihatan? Di sini. Bisa 4 GB per second ya. Kelihatan? Ya, fluktuatif ya, namanya tergantung dari sisi OS itu 3,99. Kelihatan nggak, Pak? Ya, tuh bisa 4 giga ya, kelihatan? Jadi kalau kita ngomong high performance, MapR kencang ya. Apalagi kalau kita kombinasiin dengan flash, koneksinya lewat FC, it's amazing Pak. 4 GB per second, you can find it what kind of storage 4 GB per second Pak. Ya, kalau kita lihat kemampuannya FC-nya seberapa gede nih Pak, FC-nya, kita lihat FC-nya di sini ya, FC info, sini. HBA-nya 32 GB, cuma linknya cuma hanya 16 GB. Ya. Oke, jadi nggak begitu gede-gede amat. HBA-nya berapa port di sini ya? Kita coba lihat ya. Ya HBA-nya cuma 4 port Pak. Dengan 4 port kemampuannya kemampuannya bisa sampai 4 GB per second. I think very difficult you can find similar storage. Ya, oke. Lalu kemudian ini udah mulai backup. Ya, kita lihat apakah ada efeknya. Ya, ini kita lihat traffic network sudah mulai bergerak. Ya, terus kemudian kita lihat juga CPU juga bergerak. Kok traffic network, traffic write kelihatan di sini. Nah, ini dia udah mulai nulis ke MapR. Nah ini salah satu contoh demonya. Banyak sekali demonya, cuma waktunya memang nggak cukup waktunya. kita mau demoin NoSQL dan lain-lain, nggak cukup waktunya. Lalu kemudian ini salah satunya, contoh ada yang connect ke Nutanix, kayak gimana sih ininya, hubungannya, dipakai di mana sih si Primestore, platform MapR dan Fujitsu. Kita lihat ya, bentar ya. Ya, ini ada di berapa nih ya? 127 VM yang jalan. Ya. Kalau kita lihat di VMware-nya, saya juga ya, ini salah satunya. Ini kita pakai sebagai data store. Di sana ada 2 data store yang dipakai. Nah, di satu data store ini kelihatan berapa VM ya. Jadi ada beberapa VM yang pakai segala macam ya. Jadi ada yang butuh lebih high performance, dia butuh extra storage segala macam, itu kita bisa expand ke Primestore ya. Jadi multifungsi, Pak. Nah, ini salah satu contohnya. Lalu kita lihat juga dari sisi ini, demo yang ini, gimana sih kalau Oracle biasanya banyaknya dipakai buat apa sih kalau kita lihat. Ini saya ambil salah satu contoh ya. Saya coba bisa akses nggak ke sini. Oke, kita coba lihat ya. Di sini, ini salah satu simulasi juga bahwa archive log-nya kita taruh di istilahnya log itu setiap perubahan datanya itu disimpan dalam log. Kalau udah hubungan dengan Oracle itu disimpan langsung di MapR platform ya, di Primestore MapR platform. Lalu kemudian bagaimana, kenapa sih kok harus disimpan di situ, terus apa hubungannya, bisa dibaca atau tidak? Itu bisa dibaca ya. Jadi kalau kita lihat di sini, ini lognya disimpan di sini, itu dibacanya oleh database yang ini ya. Ini ada database yang bisa baca dia. Jadi kita yang pasti-pasti aja ya. Nah, ini yang bisa baca, bentar ya. Jadi ada database yang lain, namanya standby database. Jadi kalau di Oracle itu ada backupan. Setiap kali ada log, dia apply sendiri. Lokasinya apa? Sharing, Pak. Itulah kelebihannya NFS di platform MapR. Selama ini yang jadi problem di Oracle itu adalah kalau kita banyak database nih, kita mau bangun standby database. Waduh, space untuk log. Yang paling scary adalah kalau yang namanya urusan database, terutama yang untuk enterprise database ya. Yang paling scary adalah log. Lognya ini nggak cukup, Pak. Nggak bisa sinkron ke sebelahnya. Ini yang jadi masalah. Tenang, kalau pakai platform ini, sharing aja lognya. Nggak apa-apa, generate dari production, langsung otomatis apply ke sebelahnya, udah selesai. Ya, betapa simpelnya dan betapa hematnya ya pekerjaan. Itu salah satu contoh. Lalu apalagi contoh yang lain, misalnya ya, kayak tadi ini, misalnya yang tadi kita lakukan backup. Ya, mana dia contohnya? Ya ini, kita lakukan backup ke Primestore ya tadi ya, ke Primestore, ini salah satunya ya, kita lakukan backup ke sini. Karena dia sharing across of database, saya bisa restore di mana aja kan? Oke, just like that. Ya, so simple ya. Nah, kalau ini terintegrasi dengan Commvault, itu bisa di-restore di mana aja. Ya, kenapa? Karena platformnya sudah mendukung transparan across database ya. Oke. Nah, ini salah satu contohnya ya. Terus, kemudian pertanyaan berikutnya yang terakhir itu adalah, benar nggak sih Pak, ini bisa langsung ditaruh, kalau tadi yang lewat FC udah bisa, yang langsung ke NFS-nya mana contohnya? Nah, ini contoh terakhir. Ya. Saya tunjukin ya, bentar ya. Ya. Ini dia langsung disimpan di atas platform MapR. Ya. Ya, database-nya langsung disimpan di situ aja Pak, langsung Pak. Simple, just like that. Jadi kalau misalnya, nah untuk yang kecil-kecil itu bisa ditaruh langsung di platform MapR. Kalau terlalu besar ya tidak disarankan lewat NFS. Bapak lewat FC aja. Kenapa? Kita kalau udah ngomongin yang besar kan udah skalanya udah lebih ini. Tapi kalau datanya cuma kecil, nggak se-complicated yang tadi. Ya, kalau yang tadi cukup banyak, ribuan data file ya. Kalau ribuan data file ya jangan dia ditaruh lewat ini. Lebih bagus pakai FC ya komunikasinya. Tapi kalau misalnya kecil itu bisa langsung ke MapR ya, bisa langsung ditaruh di NFS ya. Itu lebih kurang demonya seperti itu. Jadi di sini ya, you can run Oracle ya, database inside ya. Jadi kita bisa jalanin Oracle database di sana ya. Terus kemudian archive log ya, kita juga bisa taruh di sana. Oke. Lalu kemudian Airman backup ya. Terus kemudian tadi VM juga bisa. Ini nggak keburu lagi karena harus separate session ya, karena kalau nggak waktunya lama ya. Kita juga bisa jalanin NoSQL juga di situ ya. Bisa di generate juga sekalian di situ ya. Di MapR ada salah satu tools namanya Drill untuk query. Kalau yang ngerti Oracle biasanya ada Toad, di sini juga ada Drill ya untuk nge-query kayak gitu ada juga ya. Cuma nggak bisa keburu lagi di demoin. Silahkan kalau ada pertanyaan sebelum kita juga saya tunjukin ada satu promo Fujitsu dan MapR. Ada pertanyaan mungkin? Masih ada pertanyaan? Jadi kebayang bahwa ternyata big data sekarang itu tidak se-ekstrim yang bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu bayangkan. Banyak hal yang berguna, yang tanpa kita sadarin, bahkan juga murah, no storage login, ya jujur, this will be break something storage ya. Kenapa? Ya ngapain kita tergantung lagi storage ini juga lebih canggih kok. Bapak tinggal beli Intel kok, Intel aja platformnya. Itu kan semua Intel itu Pak. Yang Fujitsu itu Intel. Bapak beli Intel, isi flash, selesai. Beli MapR. Bapak masih mikirin Hitachi. No, you do not need thing like that. Oke, masih mikirin apa? EMC dan lain. No. No principal login anymore. Kecuali yang depan-depannya. Kalau yang depan-depannya kita ngomongin level mainframe segala macam itu beda. Tapi for your info, ya kedepannya bisa jadi akan menjadi satu breakthrough. Kalau Bapak bisa kembangin itu sebanyak mungkin, besar banget, bisa jadi production Bapak pindah aja ke situ. Kalau bisa di-convert, ya it can happen. Mungkin soon or later semua akan jalan di atas itu. Lama-lama ya udah di atas itu aja. Uang VM bisa jalan di atas itu kok. Gedein aja itunya kan? Oke?